Okay, this is lesson 76, multiplying fractions. So before we start doing that, we got to go back a little bit and figure out what multiplication really is. So remember, multiplying is repeated addition. So what I'm saying when I say 4 times 3, I say 4 groups of 3 in each group. So I have my 4 groups, and I'm adding 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. And I know that 4 times 3 is 12, right? So I'm going to do the same thing with fractions. If I have 1/2 times 1/2, what I'm saying is, if I have a half of something, what's a half of that? So what's 1/2 of 1/2? Well, 1/2, I've got this amount, but I want to know what 1/2 of it is. So what's this part? 1/4, right? 1/2 times 1/2 is the same thing as 1 times 1 and 2 times 2. So I multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. And sure enough, that's what I get when I say 1/2 of 1/2. Hang on, let me find the place in the book so I get the right things. Example 1, Masato, what a lovely name, found 1/4 of an English muffin in the refrigerator and ate half of it. So my English muffin is shaped like a rectangle because it just is. He found 1/4 of it. So he found that whole orange part, right? So what my question is, 1/2 of 1/4. So I want to take that fourth and cut it in half. And then if I do, and I take the remaining sections, I only have this part right here. So I have 1/8. He ate 1/8. Luckily, he left the other 1/8 for his sister, right? If he's a nice guy. All right, so think about that just a minute. Is it 1/2 of 1/4 or 1/4 of 1/2? I'm going to get the same answer. If he is taking, he has a fourth, so that's a second number, and he's finding 1/2 of it, right, of that fourth. So that part is a little confusing sometimes, especially when you get into some word problems. So think about it out loud. Of means multiply. So Masato found 1/4, so that's going to go over here, and he ate half of it. 1/2 of 1/4. Okay, I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. So indeed, even the math works out. The pictures work and the math works. I love it when that happens. All right, example 2 says, what fraction is 1/2 of 3/4? So I have 3/4. All the blue section is 3/4, right? And I want to know what 1/2 of that whole amount is. So I'd cut it in half and draw my little pictures, right? So I have 1, 2, 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1/2 of 3/4 is 3/8. I'm going to multiply straight across. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 4 is 8. Now, if I was adding, I couldn't do it because I have to have the same denominator, right? Multiplying is different. It's kind of nice. Multiplying fractions is really easy because you just multiply straight across. It gets a little confusing when they give you word problems and you have to figure out that part. But just flat out multiplying, you just go 1 times 3, 2 times 4, and you're done. Okay? Example 3 was a little more confusing. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And it said that you have this information. You know, a nickel is 5 cents, a dime is 10 cents, a dollar is 100 cents, right? So a nickel is what fraction of a dime? So is 5 cents half of 10 cents? So a nickel is 1/2 of a dime. Well, a dime is what fraction of a dollar? So in other words, how many dimes do you have in $1? You have 10, right? If you only have one of those, you have 1 out of 10. Okay. What about the nickel? That was a harder one to think about. So how many nickels are in a dollar. So now if you have 10 dimes, then you have 20 nickels, right? So if you only have one of those, you have 1 out of 20. Okay? The answers to A and C show that 1/2 of 1/10 is what fraction? So you have a tenth, and you want to find half of that. So it's 1/20th, isn't it? 1/2 of, remember that's your of, 1/10 equals 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 10 is 20. So sure enough, just like before, the math works out, and we're good to go. Okay, example 4. They just said multiply 2/3 times 4/5. So they're wanting to find, if you have 4/5, find 2/3 of that, which is hard to draw because then you got to cut your fifths into thirds and whatever. So in this case, it's just so much easier just to multiply it. So again, I'm going to say 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 5 is 15. So 8/15. Piece of cake, right? What would happen if I change the order? So I said before 2 times 4 and 3 times 5. What if I said 2 times 4 and 5 times 3? I get the same answer, right? So what does that tell me? That tells me that 2/5 times 4/3 is the same 8/15. That's not in the book. It's just a little bit of something to think about if you kind of like puzzles. All right, example 5. They have a little figure and they shaded it. I drew it this way. I should have drawn it this way. Sorry about that. Same idea. And they said, what fraction of the whole square is shaded? So if I have the whole thing and I divided it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, I have one of them. So 1/8 is shaded. So then it says choose a formula and then use it to find the area of the shaded rectangle. So I know my area is length times width, right? So 1/4 times 1/2, or 1/2 times 1/4, and I'm going to get 1/8. So that's my area. That's my formula, right? This should have been 1 inch, and this should have been 1 inch. Look in the book. I think it's easier to see that way. If you didn't want to draw the picture for that 1/8, you could use the formula. So 1/2 times 1/4. All right, good luck on this.